Grand rising, powerful being. So I'm gonna be talking about being real, being genuine, being authentic, and just sharing the truth of you with yourself first, and then being able to do that with others. So that way, a lot of times we gotta show up as a caricature of ourselves. So basically, we gotta show up how other people expect us to be. By that I mean you having to show up the way your title expects you to be, the way a specific position expects you to be, can take away from who you really are. Cause then every single day you're like, man, let's wear another mask today to go to work. And that can be dreading. And you can start to lose yourself in the middle of it. So that's why I want to be talking about, that's what I'm going to be talking about, being authentic and real, first with yourself, and then letting that bleed into how you interact with others. Let's get it. Okay, so authenticity, what does that mean? Okay, if I put it, okay, so all right. If I was talking to my homie and I'm like, how you doing today, bruh? I'm gonna ask them how they doing. I'm gonna talk to them as if I'm just talking to them, right? Not on how I know not how I know them, not how I expect them to know me, but them in the situation. Like, I'm able to disconnect between them and their title, them and their social status, them and what they just got going on, how much money they have or don't, them and how much girls they got or don't. Like, I'm just asking you, bro, how you doing today? What's been happening with your life? And it's like you really want to know about this person and not necessarily forget whatever society says. Likewise, it's the same thing, bro. Like, sometimes we gotta keep it real. Like, a lot of times you walk around and you go to work and like your coworkers may ask you like, how you doing today? You want to tell them how you doing. Hey, I'm pissed off, frustrated. I don't want to see your face. But you're like, I'm okay, and you just keep it moving. But that's kind of like the society we've been living in, is this that we've been putting on, okay, I'm good, and we move it. We just keep it moving, right? And partly this is good because it allowed us to do what we need to do, and sometimes we don't need to tell everybody our business and how we're really doing. We're just walking about day. But when you start to do that to yourself, it becomes almost delusional. So what I mean is, when it's time for you to say how you doing, bro, as in when you checking in with yourself, when you writing a journal, you can't give yourself the answer you give to a coworker you don't care about. You gotta at least give yourself the truth. So this episode is not really just about being authentic to other people. It's really just being authentic to yourself, right? Being truthful. Once you stand in your inner truth and you're really able to tap into you like you would to your homie, it makes a big difference, because then now you can really see where you're doing. So it's like, you're not asking yourself a question, how you doing, as it relates to how much money you got. You're not asking yourself the question, how you doing, as it relates to how much, women you got. You're not asking yourself how you doing in relation to how many cars you got. You're literally just asking yourself how you doing. And what am I doing? And all of these questions are important, because it steps into the authenticity and realness of the truth of that situation. Like, you able to see what's really happening. Okay, let me go back. Let me give you a little example of what I mean. For example, let's say you're like, yo, check in with yourself. Who's the self you're gonna check in with? If you're completely out of tune with the reality of what you're going through. You say check in with yourself, and then like, wait, who am I really checking in with? Am I checking in with the entrepreneur, the worker? Am I checking in with the father? Like, who am I checking in with? A lot of times we don't really know, because you're not really checking on you. Like, you checking on what you need to do, you checking on where you need to be. But when was the last time you really, really, really checked on you? Okay? So a lot of times we don't check on ourselves. We just checking on expectations. And that's not really what it is, a check-in. Right? How you doing, Queen? So we gotta check on you. So being authentic is like, when you ask yourself that question, how you doing? You answer it truthfully. Okay, this is how I'm doing. This is what's really happening. And then you're able to give yourself some space. Being authentic is also understanding that we are human. So give yourself space in that time to just be a human. To be like, okay, I'm going through that. I noticed that. All right, so now I gotta keep going about my day. I gotta keep going about my business. So then you're able to direct yourself to do that. So we're gonna go back a little bit. Being authentic. What are some ways to be authentic? It's not a way to be authentic. Being authentic is not a strategy, which means you don't strategically say, how do I build more authenticity? Right? It's more of a, how do I notice all the layers that's blocking out the truth of the authenticity that's already there? We don't build authenticity. We unlayered till we reveal the true authentic self. Like, you don't build up to be more authentic. You just start to reveal, like, in those, as you like, it's like an onion. As you unravel the onion, it might make you cry. Like, part of authenticity is also vulnerability. So somebody says, you know what, I've been closed off. What do you talk about? How do I even be more authentic? I've just been closed off. Okay. Like, sometimes we close off in order to defend or protect, right? So closing off is either to defend or protect. So authenticity is saying that, listen, there's nothing to there is stuff to defend or protect, but regardless of what it is, I'm just gonna be, right? Because I'm already defended, I'm already protected. Authenticity says I don't need to always put so much layers and walls, because I'm already defended. My very energy defends me, and my very energy protects me. So there's no reason why I should be afraid to reveal who I am. So authenticity is about just like, yo, there's nothing for me to defend or protect. Let me just be, right? Let me reveal the trueness of who I am. So you want to laugh? Laugh. You want to be silly? Just be silly. You want to dance? Just dance. Just do what you want to do and be how you want to be, and be unapologetic about it. That's authenticity. You get what I'm saying? So authenticity is like, you know, like in a situation and you're in a room and you just talking to other humans. What's up, brother? Good to see you, bro. You talking to other humans. Just realize you're talking to other humans. Like, that's what authenticity is about. Like, you just realize, like, yo, we're all here together. And we're all here together. We're all here together. And everything we say is important, and we need to stay in tune with each other and listen to what he has to say or she has to say. And it's not just about what you think and what's going on in your mind. You know what I'm saying? It's a collective. Authenticity is not forceful. It isn't like I'm trying to force who I am into you so you could be like me. Authenticity is I'm me, you're you. I embrace you as you are. I embrace myself as I am. I got my flaws, you got yours, but I still show up as me, as you show up as you. And we can also say, I am me, you are you, but I'm you too. Because we're the same. So authenticity is also seeing the same within each other and understanding that, yeah, we're so different, but we're not that different. The essence of us is the same. So authenticity goes a little bit deeper than just that. And another thing of authenticity too is it's really like how you respond energetically doesn't always have to be how you respond. How you respond energetically doesn't have to be the same way you respond verbally or with your words. Sometimes you think you have to express your gratitude or love by saying stuff. Sometimes you don't. You just gotta express it in your very energy. So sometimes, authenticity isn't forceful, which means you don't have to convince your being to somebody. You just let yourself be. And if they understand it or they don't, that's just them. Good morning, Queen. So it's like you say this. You know how like there's a childlike version of yourself who's just free spirited, and because we're so afraid of what others might think of that childlike version, we try to hide it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like because we're like, yo, I gotta be an adult. I gotta show up as a professional. So we try to hide it. So authenticity is revealing the childlike part of you. You know that you got a little joke in you want to say. You got a little smile, a little smirk, a little dance. Just whatever. Just express that. Don't feel bad about that. Just be that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can be hard wearing a mask because you can't breathe when you wear a mask. You know what I'm saying? You can't breathe that good oxygen by wearing a mask. So to be free, you have to reveal your face. And you're like, what's the mask that I'll be wearing? Like, you're like, why are you touching your face like that? Cause I'm trying to see where the mask's at. Yo, what's the mask? All right, I'm gonna tell you what the masks are. Masks are personas, right? How we expect ourselves to be, how we expect other people to perceive us, and how we want to be perceived. And the moment you feel like you're losing control of that perception, we try to make the mask more. It's like your boss, right? Like, hey, we know you. We know you, Samuel. We know you, Johnny. We know you, Barbara. We know you. Oh, Barbara, I didn't mean to say it. I said Barbara, your name got stuck to my... Okay, you a boss too, shoot. You a boss. Like, I was just using random names and then your name came up. That's very interesting. We know you, Barbara. And you're like, you're just a human just like us. So it's like, yo, forget what title you got. You're gonna forget what you're the manager of so what, you're the whatever, you're the holistic motivator. Like, no, bro, you're just another human. You get what I'm saying? And I think when you start to look at it like that, it releases like a certain it's really those expectations that weighs heavy toll on who you need to show up as. You get what I'm saying? And the more you let that go and you just be a human and you understand we're all humans. And I'm not saying human as being a bad thing, but it's a leveling thing. It's a before you and I, before a name, there was the race of human race. Like before a creed, a race, identification, it's just human. So it's like, yo, white people, black people, Asian people, Spanish people. What? It's just people. Rich people, poor people, It's all classes, okay? And once we understand that, oh my goodness, oh, we just humans. The only thing left out is to be authentic. You know what I'm saying? And this morning, like, and I bring subjects that's just important to me. Let me put your smile right there. Okay. So, thank you for watching, Barbara. I appreciate you, by the way. You're the only one watching this. So, authenticity is just, if you walk in a room and you're in the room and you start talking, you want to be able to be in that room no matter, you want to be able to talk in that room no matter who walks in that room. Like you in the room and you just talking, you just being you. You could talk like that whether one person is there, or the two people is there, or the three people is there, or whether 10,000, because at the end of the day, you're not changing what you're saying for the people. You're just saying what you say. Authenticity is, it's not what I'm trying to impress upon. It's not who I'm trying to impress, but it's just that I'm trying to express. Okay? Let me get a snap for that one. It's not what I'm trying to impress upon or who I'm trying to impress. It's just simply I'm trying to express. Authenticity then is not about you getting to my side. Authenticity is just me sharing a side. And if you see it or you don't, that's just you. You a beautiful being. I'm a beautiful being. Can I just be beautiful in my way and you be in your way? Do I have to apologize? No. Authenticity is I walk in a room, I express myself as I am, and if you like it, you stay in the room. If you don't, you leave. But I'm not going to change authenticity myself because you walked in the room. So authenticity is not dependent upon, what's up, Pete? Authenticity is not dependent upon who walks in your room and walks out of your life. So you don't change how you are because of who came in or who left out. You are who you are. Now, then we might even go to the deep rabbit hole is, are you really being who you are? Or are you being an image of who you think you should be? That could go way deeper, but we're not even gonna get there. We talked about that already. So then authenticity is revealing who you really are. So, how do you know you're being your true self? Hey, if you're not doing it for other people's approval, okay? Now I gotta look within myself and be real with myself and say, hey, how many times do I do stuff because of a specific purpose, but subconsciously I'm out looking for approval when I don't need it? All right, and I noticed that. Like sometimes you doing a video and you sharing your truth, or I'm in a class and I'm sharing the truth. It's not that I'm looking for approval. It's just that I'm making sure that you're here or that the people's here. So sometimes you're like, yo, okay, I want to make sure the people's here. And it feels like, oh, you're seeking for approval of what you're saying. Not necessarily. We just want to be seen or heard. So authenticity is not necessarily looking for approval. It's just being you, but there's a human need to be seen or heard. So when we could dictate that, it's not that, oh, what they say is going to value my worth. It's just that I want to make sure they just heard what I said. They don't have to agree with it. They can disagree with it. But did they hear me out? So sometimes to be authentic and to open a space for authentic being is to just say, hey, I'm being myself. I'm sharing the truth of it. At the same time, hey, some people, they can hear what they hear it. So when you give other people spaces where they can feel heard, which means you're just hearing them out, you hear what they have to say, you're creating an authentic space. But when you don't hear people out, when you're forcefully putting your opinions and expectations on them, that's not an authentic place. That's a forceful nature. So we have to also look at the difference between being authentic as it relates to, okay, I'm just going to share my truth and hopefully they'll hear me out, and needing approval. Oh, I'm going to share my truth But if they don't agree with it or see it from my perspective, then it's not my truth. I need to go back. I need to really think about it. Is it right or is it wrong? No, that's not what it is. So I want you to understand your desire to feel heard or listened to is not necessarily a desire for you to be a seeking of approval. It's a normal human need. Most people are not listening to hear out, they're listening to respond. And I realize in certain times, I do listen to respond, and I need to practice to listen more, just to listen. That's what being authenticity is about, really hearing it, hearing all the different sides, and just kind of like either learning from it or not. Just listen. So part of being authentic is just to be a good listener, not a good thinker about what they're saying and how you can respond to them. Just listen. So part of being authentic is just listening, giving yourself space to be, not expecting yourself to be perfect, not dictating the outcome of the situation. I'm just in the situation with, I'm here, you're here, we're here. We're talking, we're engaging, this is it. Oh, what are they thinking about me? How do I look right now? Do they think I'm ugly? Do they think no, all of these things, they take away from that presence. So then authenticity becomes a free space for you to just be. And understand that we all, to some extent, are suffering something, and is giving each other space to suffer. And by listening, we're actually helping that person suffer less. Let's say I'm going through some real tough time, and you ask me, hey, Ed, how you doing today? Hey, somebody actually asked me how I'm doing. I'm normally the one asking that. Thank you. And you actually sat down and you listened to me. Ah, how about that? Appreciate that. Okay, this is how I'm really doing. You know, I'm going through this. I'm working on that. Okay, let's just practice it right now. Hey, Ed, how you doing? Well, I'm doing a lot, bro. I've been working day in, day out, very consistent. There's a lot in my life where I notice how, like, what I'm doing is impacting people. Sometimes it can get really lonely, working and working. And I'm realizing that life is for living. How you really doing, Ed? Shit. I want to be goddamn successful to the point I want to be already. I'm trying to reach where I need to reach. How you really doing, Ed? Well, when I really think about it, I'm doing good. When I really think about it, I'm here. I'm alive. I'm breathing. I'm living in my purpose. And I'm just here, man. So yeah, there's some stuff that I want to go towards. But when I really look at my life, I say that I'm divinely walking the steps each day. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm impacting people's lives, and I'm being more loving to people I care about. Right? I'm intentionally putting focus on getting better with my family, getting better in managing my finances, and that's what it's all about. So, by it all means, I'm living a beautiful life. So how am I really doing? I'm doing amazing. That's really how it goes. Whenever somebody says I'm doing great, they're not just saying I'm doing great because they got everything going. It's just that in spite of some of the shit they notice that they can work through, they can develop, they can get there. So in spite of the things that they feel like, man, I could be there. When you really think of the gratefulness, you realize that so much shit is really happening for you, that things are really good. So I just express that to you in that way, because when you ask me how I'm doing, the answer is not just one answer. It's not really just I'm doing great. It's like, yo, I'm grateful. I see the beauty. I see what I'm doing. However, there's this parts that that's a human experience. And then after that, what is it that you need, what is there something you need to do? Not much. Just, oh, listen, I feel you. I'm in the same, I understand where you're coming from. Like, every day is a I see the beauty of what I'm doing too, but I can see the struggle, but keep going on at it. Because guess what? Every day, if you keep getting up, you're doing the best you can, just make sure you just keep doing that shit. You got it. Keep pushing through. I see you, I hear you, I feel you. I get you, I understand. What I'm learning to do now is you don't have to become to be authentic is not to become a problem solver for people or for yourself. It's just to hold the space and not make, you don't have to control the outcome. Authenticity is not about the result that you yield out of something. Authenticity is you are able to experience it as it is and allow space for it to be as it is without forcing it to be something else. So that's kind of the message for today. So be more in that authenticity, And what I'm going to practice the most now is I'm going to shut up and listen more. They say, listen, it's not how much you got to say, how much do you really listen, right? So I want to be a better question asker. Part of being more authentic is not necessarily imposing your truth. You are too, or expressing, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, I'm going through that, I'm going through that, I'm going through that. It's not just you are too. I'm going through this, I'm going through that, I'm going through that. Authenticity is not just an impression or expression. Authenticity is also interest. Oh, I'm interested in this thing. Let's look at the different facets of the subject, different facets of you. I'm interested to know what you got going on. Interest. Curiosity. Interest and curiosity has a lot to do with authenticity. And this is what I mean by that. A lot of times, we're not even interested in the other person. We're just so self-consumed. And that's not a good thing, because you could be just thinking about what's going on in your head. You be thinking about what's happening within you, how your day is going, how your life's going, and you completely ignore that, there's another person on this side of this transaction. Not transaction. There's another person on this side of this, you know what I mean, of this occurrence, of this one-on-one. So authenticity is about curiosity. You have to actually be curious for the curiosity to come out. You can't fake curiosity, because then it just looks like, then that's the thin line between curiosity and what is it? What's the word? Investigation. Like, are you curious or are you investigating me right now? Are you instigating me? Or are you curious? You're just curious to know. So I said, well, how was your date? He said, my day was okay. What do you mean it was okay? How was okay like? Oh, well, it was kind of good, kind of bad. What does good look like? What does bad look like? Hey, you're not necessarily trying to force an answer. You're curious. You want to know, okay, good, bad. What do you mean by that? You're like, well, I went there and this happened. Oh, what is that? Oh, you mean that happened? How was that situation? Oh, you went there? That happened? Well, how did that go for you? Oh, well, this is what happened, and this is how I felt. I met these people, and oh, you went there, you met those people? You mean those people over? Oh, what is that? What are those people? What are they all about? You all of a sudden you're naturally curious about what this person is talking about. You're not trying to look a certain way. You're not trying to make yourself feel like, oh, you're a good listener. Nah, you're not trying to do any of that. You're not trying to say, oh, I'm a good speaker. I'm a good I'm an influencer, motivator. No, it's just a matter of you're curious. You're really, really curious as to what's happening with this person. And if you bring that curiosity and not just exploring ideas, but exploring people, places, and things, you're gonna have a lot of, the authenticity is gonna be off the roof. You're just gonna be naturally authentic when you just have a natural curiosity. Okay? So there's somebody says, okay, how do I bring this curiosity, not just with relationships and engagement with other people? How can I bring some of that curiosity towards just my life? Authenticity is also curiosity, not just about others and what they're going through. What about yourself and what you're going through? So being authentic with yourself is being curious as to what's really happening and asking yourself the questions. Like, you feel, if let's say you in the room and you're like, I feel really uncomfortable. Ask yourself, hey man, what do you need? Like, you gotta have those, cause sometimes sometimes we're humans. You're human. And you're like, you feel like crying inside, but you gotta show up like with a smile. Like, hey everybody, welcome to the Holistic Motivator. Welcome to the Zoom meeting. Listen, we gotta keep going. Let's keep doing what we need to do. I know it's been tough for you, but we gotta keep it moving. But in the back of your mind, you're like, yo, there's something going on right now. I need to deal with it. At least for yourself, you can say, what do you need? Authenticity is not just you being curious about the other person so you can figure out what they need. Authenticity is being curious about yourself. And when you're able to do that, then you will figure out what you need. And you will kind of like start to take care of your needs. And by taking care of your very need, you're going to become a type of person that's tuned to others' needs. Okay? So the reason why a lot of us are not being authentic in certain situations is because we don't recognize the need we have, right? And you're like, yo, what are you talking about, need? Like, for me, sometimes I have a need. I realize that even in a podcast, like, I've been very authentic and sharing you the truth, and it's kind of vulnerable. So what's a need? What's a desire? What's something? Like, to be heard. I realize that sometimes I want to make sure that I'm heard. And it's like, yo, when I ask myself, what do you need? Oh, I don't necessarily need to be heard. I just I have a need to express, and I want to express my truth how it is. And that's it. I have a desire to express. There's no need to be heard. There's a desire to express. So it's just like, in this expression, is it being heard? That's the question of the mind. Then your mind says, hey, is that all you're doing? Do you need to keep, is it working? Does it impacting life? Is what you're doing? So if you have that conversation with yourself, you're like, oh, okay, I'm an influencer, I'm a presenter, I'm a motivator, I'm a teacher, I'm a coach, I'm a healer. You might have to ask yourself, what do you really need? Because you might think, I need people to hear what I'm saying. As a speaker, an influencer, or a healer, you might not need people to listen to hear what you're saying. You might just need to understand that what you're saying has its value and that people are hearing it. You need a reassurance of faith that what you're doing is valuable and needs to be heard. And you just stand in the truth. Now, different times you might have to then say, hey, oh, you guys, y'all tapped in? Y'all listening? Y'all on point? And this is just a way to make sure that people are engaging. But in you know that what you said, whether it's being received a certain way or not, that you just express it. Not necessarily for your desire to impress upon somebody, you gotta think this way or you don't, but just because you just being. So in authenticity, you just be. You do not necessarily to impress upon somebody a certain way, and you just let that be. And you hear what they have to say. And you just show up as you. Every day you keep doing it. So, like I said, these are things I'm learning. And as I learn them, I bring them to you because then I realize that, hey, I'm not the only one probably dealing with this. Oh, I'm a human. There's other humans. So other humans are dealing with this too. Because guess what? Let's say this. Let's say I talk for 30 minutes and I've just been talking. Right? You just been talking. After you could do all of this talking, you might step back and say, oh, have I talked too much? Am I talking or am I conversing? Is there a conversation or is this a one-sided talk? And sometimes in some certain situations, you got to figure out what situation you're in. Are you giving a speech or are you having a conversation? Because sometimes you might be talking to your kid, you're not having a conversation, you're just giving them a speech. And you're like, oh, are you hearing me? That's the problem. This is not a speech time, this is a conversation time. You should know they're hearing you because they should have responded to you because you're curious about their life and you're asking them certain questions. And you're listening to the details and you're following up on it. You see? Then it becomes a different conversation. Then the question of whether you're being heard or not is not even a thing because you're no longer giving a speech. So we have to know, when we are in a present life, we got to know what we're doing. Am I giving a speech right now? Or am I just being a human in this room with other humans and having a conversation? So with your kid, with your friend, with your sister, with your mama, with your cousin, ask yourself, am I giving a speech? Or am I just having a conversation with another human? So likewise, I as an influencer, motivator, teacher, whatever, I have to also know the difference between when I'm giving a speech, when I'm just expressing my truth, one-sided, and when I'm having a conversation. And knowing the difference will determine how you show up. Because one of them is fully expression, one of them is part expression, part being attentive and curious enough to listen and hear what the other person has to say. So I just kind of mingle and mix a couple things, and then I'm gonna go take it this route. When the cameras turn off, and you're no longer influencing or coaching or teaching whoever you're coaching and teaching, the question to now then ask yourself is, oh, how am I presenting myself in my relationships? Am I just coming here as a coach, teacher? Am I coming as a title? Or am I just being here as another human? And I think it will make you get your authenticity more on point once you stop showing up as you expect yourself to show up, when you just show up as you are being. And you find all those different parts of you come up. The teacher, the healer, the mother, the sister, the friend. Because you're not wearing a persona. You're just looking at what the situation and what the situation needs, and you're being fulfill the needs of the situation. So that's the message, y'all. And I'm sticking to it. It's the Holistic Motivator. I want to thank y'all for watching this episode. Hopefully this episode added value to you. I just spoke my truth. Those who have ears, let them hear. Stay blessed. Stay in your power. Be authentic. And it's not something to forcefully be. It's just something that you just let go of all these masks and things you gotta wear. Hey, how y'all doing today? Hey, we normal humans here. Y'all, what's up? Little kid from across the street. How you doing today? You know what I'm saying? Just be. So with that being said, y'all stay blessed, stay in your power. Reveal your light. Don't feel a certain need to dim it, hide it. Just reveal that light. The sun is coming up. You see the sun is all over me. Most def. All right. And for those of you who are loyal listeners of the podcast, shout out to you, Barbara. Let me add your message to the broadcast. Why is it showing up like that? Why is it showing up like that? Shout out to you. I appreciate you for expressing gratitude and much love to you for watching. And for those of you who enjoy this podcast, y'all make sure y'all go to edtalksdaily.com and subscribe. And if you want to leave a love donation, some gratitude, go to edtalksdaily.com/support, or you send your gratitude to Cash App EdTalks. Once again, that helps a whole lot, right? Send Cash App EdTalks. And share this podcast to a friend. All right? Stay blessed. Stay in your power. Definitely send your boys some love. Let me add that donation. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube. That's true. Y'all subscribe on the YouTube. There you go. And here's the Cash App. Cash App Ed Talks. Send gratitude. I want to hear my Cash App ringing today. All right, y'all. Peace and love. Y'all stay blessed. I'm out.